Welcome back, everybody, to Well Life Wednesday, where healing, mental wellness, whole life transformation comes together. I'm your host, Cristy Hooper, licensed clinical mental health counselor supervisor.
And I'm your host, Iris, your licensed clinical addiction specialist associate. And once again, we're glad to have you with us here on today.
Most definitely. Today, Iris, we're diving into something deeply important, a topic that impacts relationships, self worth, family systems, and emotional healing, and that's codependency.
And codependency can quietly shape your how you are, how you love, how you help, how you rescue, and even lose yourself in relationships. Many people don't realize they are functioning in codependent patterns until they feel emotionally exhausted, resentful, and disconnected from their own identity.
Yeah. Healing codependency is not about becoming cold or distant. It's about learning healthy love boundaries, self trust, and emotional freedom.
So if you're struggling with people pleasing, over functioning, fear of abandonment, rescuing others, or losing yourself in relationship, this episode might be for you.
All right, Iris, let's get into it. What is codependency? Our audience might be asking. Codependency is an unhealthy emotional or behavioral reliance on another person, often where one's sense of purpose, identity, or worth becomes tied to meeting another person's needs.
Mm. It often looks like chronic people pleasing, again, difficulty saying no, fear of rejection, excessive caretaking, low self esteem, emotional dependency, enabling harmful behaviors, prioritizing others before you really check on yourself.
Yeah. I mean, when your identity starts to depend on someone else's idea of who you should be,
Mm-hmm.
tied to that. There's that link. Many individuals with codependency feels responsible for other people's emotions, healing, choices, and stability, and that should never be the case.
Mm-hmm.
I am never responsible for someone else's happiness,
Right.
the decisions they make, or any of that. You should be responsible for that yourself.
This can especially be common in relationships impacted by addiction, trauma, family dysfunction, or inconsistent caregiving. So you can see these signs in all those areas of your life.
Yeah. Codependency is often rooted in survival strategy. That is something that we have been saying over the last 30 days, survival strategy. A lot of people are living in survival mode.
Mm-hmm.
Even though some people, and let's go here, even though some people may have healed from their traumas, with the current state of the world, we have regressed to surviving
Mm-hmm.
again. People are not look. A lot of us are codependent on family, each other at this point,
Right.
and hopefully it'll tie in how, or maybe we have to do another uh, episode where, uh, depending on people, needing a helping hand is efficient at
Right.
times, but it shouldn't be a crutch.
That's right.
What may have once helped someone stay emotionally safe in childhood can become harmful in adulthood.
That's good. So let's talk about the root cause of codependency. Codependency doesn't usually begin in adulthood. It often develops through early relational experiences. For instance, childhood emotional neglect, um, living with addiction in the home, abuse or instability, conditional love, fear based attachment, and chronic invalidation. So I can see how that can play a part in someone's life, especially like you said, when a child is feeling neglect, The abuse, instability, chronic invalidation. If they don't receive that, they're looking for love most of the time in all the wrong places.
Exactly. Exactly. And we talked about last week, family systems,
Mm-hmm.
and everything is tied. Who we are as adults is tied to the makeup, nature versus nurture
Mm-hmm.
from childhood. So I want everybody to connect the dots here.
Right.
A lot of times of who you are, the values, the systems, the beliefs that you have, the trauma, the emotional attachment, an inability to regulate. A lot of that stems from the things we experienced as children, and we haven't healed from that. And so our adult selves are trying to navigate, survive the world with not having the skills or tools, proper skills and tools we need to navigate different situations in life now. When children learn that love must be earned through performance, sacrifice, or caretaking, they may grow into adults who struggle to believe they are worthy apart from what they do for others. Let me read that again. When children learn that love must be earned through performance, sacrifice, or caretaking, they may grow into adults who struggle to believe they are worthy apart from what they do for
Mm-hmm.
others. So if I don't bring something to the table, if I'm not coming with something, you're not going to love me.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not exceptional, I don't feel like I'm worthy to be in or you're going to notice me, or I'm not significant
Right.
enough.
So in addiction work, we often use family systems where codependency become normalized. One person may misuse substance while another overfunctions to keep everything together. And like I just read, I see that so often with families that's dealing with substance abuse. The person that's not using, like they said, overfunction to try to keep everything together. And that can be uh stressful within itself when you don't know
Yeah,
how that family member that's on drugs, how they're going to get through this. You want it so much for them, but you keep seeing them relapsing, and then on the other side you still trying to hold the family together. It could be a husband and a wife, and if that paycheck is being used for drugs, that's taken away from the home, and now that other person who has they check that's not using, they're trying to pay everything with that one check when it's a two-person household that's working. So
right.
I mean, we see it all the time.
And Iris, even if you take away the financial piece, if I'm trying as a mother or father to navigate a household where um, the other parent has an addiction, and I'm trying to make sure the children don't
Mm-hmm.
are not impacted by that.
Right, right.
So you have different types of addicts. You have those that are aggressive, those that misuse, like you said, finances, um, those that get so drunk they can't even stand up and
Yeah.
falling asleep in the house and just stumbling over. I'm trying to navigate an emotional environment, a safe environment
Yes.
for my children while trying to take care of an
Right,
addict.
right.
That's a lot. That's a
It is.
lot. And in that, the children and the parent who is trying to navigate that, they become codependent on each other because they all they
Mm-hmm.
got.
That's it.
And that's where the roles often
Mm-hmm.
get um, intermingled, enmeshed. That's the word
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for. Um, because now everybody is trying to manage
Right.
the addict in the home.
Mm-hmm.
So children may have to step up
Yeah.
and do this, or pick up daddy off the floor so it don't cause a problem, or um, don't upset mom so she doesn't start yelling and throwing things in the house and being belligerent.
Mm-hmm.
That's not fair to
Right.
anyone in that. situation. That pattern can create cycles of
Mm-hmm.
enabling, control,
Yeah.
guilt, shame, and emotional depletion.
Yes, 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 yes.
We talked about that. Not only kids having to go to school, we don't and not knowing what they're dealing with at home, but the adults having to go to work and still be social and intermingle with people as if life at home is normal
Right,
and
right.
fine. It's a lot of people wearing
Mm-hmm.
masks. We wonder why tasks can't get done, why children are not completing assignments and aggression in at school, because that's what is going on in the
Mm-hmm.
home. And a lot of times too, Iris, children become codependent on the school
Yes,
system, the
yes,
teacher,
yes.
the ones who are often asking, "Is everything okay?" Giving them snacks, the cafeteria lady making sure they have extra
Right.
food, going above and beyond, because they know that the home life
Mm-hmm.
is not.
That's so true.
So let's talk about signs you may be healing from or struggling with codependency. Here are some questions to reflect on. So I want you to ask yourself, do you fit any of these, or do you know someone who does? Do you feel guilty when prioritizing yourself? I think a lot of people in the last week's session had talked about um, feeling guilty or having to be the person that's always there and people depending on
Mm.
them. You can't. You do you constantly seek validation? Do you fear conflict or abandonment? Do you struggle to identify your own needs when you can't even figure out what it is you need because everybody else's needs are
Mm-hmm.
priority to you? You don't even consider yourself. A lot of people said last week about realizing how they need rest, not even able to regulate their own emotions because they have to make sure everybody else is
Mm-hmm.
okay. Do you feel responsible for fixing others?
That's,
Now I know a lot of people.
I
Go
was gonna
ahead,
say
Iris.
that's the thing right there. We can't fix nobody.
Mm-mm, you sure can't. People got to want to fix themselves. They got to want to help
That's it.
themselves as much as they want to. Because at some point, especially when you're dealing with addiction, you become an enabler.
Mm-hmm.
Your fixing the situation is, well, if I can manage it in the house, then nobody will know what's going on outside. That's not fixing the
Right,
situation.
right, right.
Do you remain in unhealthy relationships to avoid loneliness? Now,
There's a lot of that going on.
there's a lot of that going on. You know you shouldn't be with that person. You know they're no good. And we're not just talking about um uh husband or wife, boyfriend or girlfriend. We talking about
Listen,
interpersonal
yeah.
friends, people you should not have any ties to. But we can't sit in that solemn, lonely place too long because then other stuff starts seeping in.
Mm-hmm.
Codependence starts seeping. I need somebody.
Yeah.
You rather deal with unhealthy patterns and relationships than avoid dealing with the stuff that's going on deep rooted within you.
Right.
I'd rather have to work on somebody else's problems to deal with my own. And a lot of times we're tied to people who have trauma and are unhealthy. And now their problems become ours when we haven't even our
Mm-hmm.
own.
Healing starts with awareness. Let's talk about some indicators of healing. Setting healthy boundaries, increasing self-worth, emotional independence, tolerating discomfort without rescuing, letting others own their consequences, choosing peace over dysfunction. Let's go back to what that one said about tolerating discomfort without rescuing. Chris, you kind of
Mm,
touched on that a few minutes ago. The loneliness, people being able to sit within themselves, knowing what you need, And sometimes we don't want to face our issues because of, like, say, fear, loneliness. We might get sad. We don't want to touch any past trauma, but we're ready to go rescue someone else when we can just focus on ourselves. That's where the work begins.
Iris, it's funny. You drowning, but you trying to rescue somebody else.
Yes,
How is that
it's
feasible?
not. Somebody else got to come in and get
You
y'all.
now we both sinking, and a third party, got to come in and save us both.
Yes.
We don't want to save ourselves for nothing. We want to wear these capes and be superheroes and come in and save the day for other people just to get the acknowledgement and feel needed. But we won't save ourselves. You won't go save the little boy and little girl within you, rescue them, but we wouldn't rescue somebody else. It's all these signs. The airplane, they tell you to put your mask on first, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta save even your baby, somebody else. When you're on the boat, they tell you to put your life vest on first, don't they?
Yeah.
When you're in a car, ain't you supposed to put your seatbelt on? I can't help somebody else if I ain't willing to help myself first.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about setting healthy boundaries. We talked about that last week.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be a line drawn in the sand somewhere. It has to be where you're going to say, absolutely not. I can't allow it. I'm not taking that in.
Right.
I'm not dealing with that. I can't. I don't have the capacity. That's the real honest truth. When you tell yourself, I don't have the capacity to deal with that
Mm-hmm.
right now, you be honest not only to the other person, but yourself.
And that goes back to those last two, letting others own their consequences. Let people handle their own stuff. It's too many times somebody has come in to save them and rescue them. They have to learn on their own. They have to see what they're made up of,
Mm-hmm.
and it's
You hear a
okay.
lot of stories of kids. This never happened to me, but people saying that their grandpa, their daddy threw them in the pond or the pool,
Mm,
and they had to figure out how to
yeah,
swim.
yeah.
Sometimes you have to let people figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
They have to do it on their own, or they'll never be able to uh, save themselves in any situation. I don't know where we were. I was talking about um, the youth of today. They don't have the capacity
Yeah.
to do anything. It's gimme, 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 take, entitlement.
Mm-hmm.
They're codependent on everything and everybody.
Yeah.
Growing up, we knew certain stages you had to develop and get there before you can go to it's a lot of stage skipping.
Oh, yeah. They just send them on through now.
Yeah. Choose peace over
Yeah.
dysfunction. I I don't know how loud I can say it, what mountaintop I can go to. I choose peace. I love it.
I'm finding out, Cristy, a lot of people, since we've been, working in this field, it's a lot of people that can't function without dysfunction.
Oh, that's good.
If there's nothing chaotic going on in their life, they do not know what to do.
You're right.
They had a good night's rest, didn't nobody call on them, but they call you because they think they're in a crisis because no one is needing them. Uh, there was nothing for them to go fight about. The police won't call. And I'm saying to them, that was a great weekend. You had an awesome time.
Right.
But to them, it wasn't.
That's what peace is.
Yes.
But many people, like I think we said it before, it's that's the norm for
Mm-hmm.
them. Dysfunction and chaos. It's been the norm for so long. It's inherent. Like that's what I'm used to. And so now that I've set myself up. That's the crazy part that you just said. I put myself in a position to not have to do
Mm-hmm.
that. I've set boundaries where people aren't calling on me on the weekends in the middle of the night. And now I don't even know how to accept that, how to
Mm-mm.
manage it. You can start the work, but you got to finish
Mm-hmm.
it. It's just like people who get what's that? The stomach surgery and stuff. There's things you got to go through, therapy and all these things, and you can lose the weight, but mentally, if you're still up here thinking I'm overweight and how I still eat, how I look at food, my concept of food, if that doesn't change,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to repeat that same cycle over and over again. Healing codependency means learning that love should not require self abandonment.
Yes.
I'm not willing to abandon
Mm-mm.
myself because if I can't count on nobody else, I'm gonna make sure I got me.
Mm-hmm.
I got to.
That's good right there.
I'm not gonna be a victim. I'm gonna keep surviving. I changed the
Mm-hmm.
mindset. Maybe I was abandoned as a child. I was neglected, but I got me now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna make sure the next generation coming forth don't feel that way. It's all of this comes down to, and I know it's gonna sound simple, choice. You can choose to stay in it and feel down and bad and
Mm-hmm.
struggle, or you can get up and fight and do better.
That's it. So let's talk about boundaries as a healing tool. Boundaries are essential for healing codependency. Boundaries is needed for everything.
That's what's boiling down. They're vital.
Yes.
Boundaries are not punishment; they are protection.
Yes, it is.
It's in every sense of boundary. When police put up the tape, when you have these marathons and they have these I don't know what you call them, those barriers
Yeah.
up. When there is massive raining and they have the barrier up at a road for you to say, stop here, don't
Mm-hmm.
go. How many times have we read in the news people going past that boundary because they think,
Yeah, we can
oh,
get
it,
through
it
there.
don't, yeah, we're going to get through it. We're going to
You're
make
not
it.
equipped.
S- Say that one more
You're
time.
not equipped.
You're not equipped. You in a Fiat trying to go through how many feet of water? Trying to, you are definitely not equipped. Why you think you can go through there? How you think you can get through this when you don't have any of the tools? You haven't done any of the work.
Yep.
Healthy boundaries may sound like I love you, but I cannot fix this for
Mm.
you. Come on.
Mm.
I love you. My love hasn't gone anywhere, but I can't do that for
Yeah.
you. You got to do it and want it for yourself. I'll be here to support you. I'll be here to lift you up. I'll be here to motivate you. Be your biggest cheerleader, but I can't fix it.
That's it.
I can't do it. That does not work for me. No, that's my favorite. Yeah, that ain't gonna work for me. I'm not doing it. That's a no. I need time to think before committing. And let me process this. I got to play this out before I say yes.
Mm-hmm.
Your emotions are valid, but they are not my
Mm.
responsibility. Listen.
That
Listen,
might ruffle some
everybody.
feathers there.
There you go,
Yeah.
Iris.
But you setting your boundary.
I've said you entitled to feel how you want to feel. I promise
Mm-hmm.
you. You can be mad, sad, happy, glad, ecstatic, all of that. But ain't none of that my
Mm-hmm.
responsibility. We get in relationships and think the other person is supposed to make me. You hear that a lot of times in therapy sessions. He doesn't make me happy. She doesn't. They ain't supposed to.
That comes from within, honey.
It comes from within. Now, if you haven't set the boundaries and had a conversation about do's, don'ts, likes, and not, that's your fault.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not the other person's responsibility to complete you or make you happy.
And that's the truth. Boundaries can feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you were conditioned to prioritize others over yourself. And that's where we got to do the flip. You
And
had
you,
to come first.
yeah, you say condition.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of older siblings who were conditioned to take care of their younger siblings, latchkey kids. Parents now got to work. Who's parenting in the home with the children? The oldest. Who's making sure when they go to work and on the weekends and that they're fed? The
Mm-hmm.
oldest. You see a lot. You in the news right now. We're seeing a lot of parents leaving their kids in the car because they got to work, leaving them at home and homes catching on fire because somebody got to work.
Mm-hmm.
The the roles in the family are
Yes,
enmeshed.
it is.
I used to when I worked with children and families, we used to do this diagram where I bring in a whiteboard and I would draw a line um, horizontal, and I would put parents at the top of that line and children at the bottom of that line. And in the family sessions, I would ask, "What are your roles?" And we would write them out. And a lot of times, roles that were for parents, the children would say some of those things. I'm responsible for this. And so the child kept moving up, crossing that boundary. That was the
Mm-hmm.
line, the horizontal boundary, right? So when I would ask each child, what are your roles? They kept moving up. And so eventually they were over into the parent roles. And to visually see that, to have the parents visually see that was awesome.
Wow.
This is the structure of your home, the dynamics. And that's why things aren't working out.
Mm.
Codependency. The boundaries have been crossed. No lines have been drawn.
Mm.
Go ahead.
Rebuilding self-worth. A major part of heal.
Where boundaries can feel uncomfortable. Boundaries can
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
uncomfortable
I
at
already
first.
did that.
Oh, I'm sorry. But discomfort is often part of growth. Healing requires learning to tolerate guilt without abandoning yourself. Being discomfort, but discomfort is often a part of growth. Healing requires learning to tolerate guilt without abandoning yourself. Boundary building strategies. Number one, identify emotional triggers.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be able to identify what sets us off
Yes.
so we don't put ourselves in situations where we see the flag beforehand and we get ourselves on out of there because we know this could easily trigger me.
Mm-hmm.
Practice saying no. Listen, if you got to stand in the mirror and say no, if you got to call that good friend and say, I'm just going to ask, I want you to ask me stuff this week and I'm just going to say no. Practice
Mm-hmm.
it. until you feel comfortable. Stop over explaining.
You do
You ain't
that.
got anything to people because some things don't need an explanation. It is what it
Mhm.
is. I said what I said. I said it in period. There's no discussion about it. You're overdoing it because at this point, who are you trying to convince? The person you're trying to set the boundary with or yourself?
Right.
Build self trust. And that, I think that should be bigger than what it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
Self trust. We don't trust ourselves a lot of times to make the best decision. We don't trust ourselves in some situations.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have the capacity for that, don't put yourself in those
Right.
situations. Don't be around those people if you don't can't trust yourself to stand on what you need to stand on. Because a lot of times you're going to put yourself in a situation that's going to make life worse for you. Recognize manipulation patterns. We have a bunch of con artists out here. We have people who can say some nice things.
Mm-hmm.
Narcissists, people who are one way out in public and you get behind those doors, it's all hell. Don't let people trick you into stuff you don't want, to crossing your boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
to taking away your.
Right.
And last, seek therapy or support groups. Rebuilding self worth. A major part of healing codependency is rebuilding identity outside of caretaking. Our sister, our oldest sister, um, Sharon Norwood, has a, just wrote a book about learning how to navigate life um, as an empty nester. And I often hear her saying you have to grow with your children because they're stages
Mm-hmm.
and you have to be still navigate and have a life outside of your children because if you don't, you're going to be lost when it's time for them to leave the nest,
Right.
to leave the home.
Mm-hmm.
Because the role that you prioritized or concentrated on was being a mother or a father
Mm-hmm.
or taking care of your elderly parents or taking care of disabled or sick individuals. You have to have a learn what your identity is outside of those roles because there was a you who took care of you before all that happened. And that should still take priority. And you shouldn't feel bad about putting yourself
Right.
first, taking time out for yourself.
So ask yourself, who am I beyond helping others? What do I need? What brings me peace? What relationship feels reciprocal? So those are good questions to ask yourself. Who am I beyond helping others? What do I need? What brings me peace? And what relationships feel reciprocal?
Can I can we talk a little bit about what relationships feel reciprocal? Now, should we be doing things to expect things from other people?
No.
No. Should we be giving? You see what I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
say? Should we be giving or going all our way in hopes that someone else is going to repay us back? No.
Right.
But in relationships, they should be replenishing. They should be uplifting.
Right.
They should be nourished.
Mm-hmm. That's it right
That's
there.
what it.
Mm-hmm. That was good. That was,
Healing often involves. Go ahead. Were you going to say
uh-uh.
something else? Healing often involves inner child work. We can't say it any clearer than that.
Mhm.
Child work, that's within yourself, healing those things that have been unhealed and left dormant and lie dormant within you from your childhood. Cognitive reconstruction, that's constructing the thoughts that you have, those negative thought patterns, um, changing that, unlearning behavior that was um, implanted in something you grew into. You have to learn how to grow out of that. Trauma recovery, self compassion, developing hobbies and autonomy, learning how
Mhm.
to do stuff.
Yes.
I had I had told one of my clients, "Why don't you go out to eat? By yourself, take yourself out." She looked at me and said, "I would never." I said, "Why?
Don't know what you're
You
missing.
got to learn. You got to embrace being by yourself.
Mhm.
Self being okay." I remember when Mama told me that I was in college, and that was one of my things. I was like, I would never eat by myself. Like I had to always be with a group. I just felt uncomfortable. And I remember Mama said, "I go out to restaurants and sit by myself all the time." Iris, I tried it. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was in the cafeteria. I was in a Ram Shack, but I went to an area downstairs where nobody would be. And that was the first, it was a baby step. That was the first way I was going to be able to do this. I was still out in public, but I was downstairs eating at a booth by myself.
Mm.
And the fear that I had, but I got through it and I kept doing it until I went upstairs where everybody was eating in the Ram Shack and I sat by myself. And the more I kept doing, the more comfortable I became. And then I was able to go to the main cafe where it's crowded and sit by myself if my friends weren't there. These are the steps I took while uncomfortable to get comfortable. But if I never would have tried it, if I never had a conversation about it, saying this was something that was if I never identified it, it wouldn't have
Mhm.
changed. Now I go to the movies by myself, go into the grocery store, everything. I love doing stuff for myself, but it's something I work towards. And spiritual grounding, you have to have a belief, a faith in something to ground you. It's a lot of times experiences that I have had. If I didn't have my faith, I wouldn't have been able to get through it with a sound mind.
Right.
I wouldn't have reacted in a godly way. So you have to have spiritual grounding. That's
You are worthy even when you are not rescuing, fixing, or proving yourself. So just know you are worthy no matter what shape, what economic status you are. You are worthy. You don't have to try to fix everybody. You don't have to prove nothing to anybody. You are worthy where you are in the state that you're in right now.
good. Faith, healing, and emotional freedom. Faith can be a powerful part of healing. Many people find strength in understanding that their identity is rooted in purpose and not
Well, I
performance.
like that.
I love that. Performance, because we got a lot of people
Performing.
performing. And there's no depth, there's nothing to it. You just performing. What is your purpose? Why were you called? What are you here to do? What is the message you're trying to convey? You can look good on the outside all you want to, but if there's nothing rooted and grounded in there, it's pointless.
On that note, healing codependency means releasing false responsibility and embracing healthy surrender. That's great. Healing codependency means releasing false responsibility and embracing healthy surrender.
But releasing false responsibility, that means
Mhm.
nobody put
Yeah,
that
they,
on
they
you.
did. Mhm.
Okay, and embracing healthy
Surrender.
surrender.
So, did you catch it?
I'm not catching the last part. I
You
got the
got
releasing false
that,
responsibility.
you're taking on things that you didn't have to take on. Nobody gave you that responsibility. And embracing healthy
Okay.
surrender. So if they didn't give it to, just release it.
Okay. I don't know why I
You
made
don't know
that
why
hard.
you didn't help.
Okay.
Just healthy
Okay.
surrender. Just give it up. And
Give
that's
it
where a
up.
lot of us are. We stuck in places, and the only thing we need to do is let it go. Surrender. All to him. I freely give. We get about to take a hymn on now.
I really. Oh, I got
I
tears.
surrender
That
all.
is all. That right there, we should put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Because you're right. It's a lot of people who are struggling just because of that false responsibility when they need to embrace a healthy surrender.
Let it go.
Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. You can love deeply without losing
Come on.
yourself.
You can support others without carrying burdens that were never yours. Stop carrying that stuff that don't belong to you. Then now, I'm only, even when somebody tell me to hold their purse or their wallet, I'm only gonna hold it for a little bit because it ain't even mine. I don't want to carry no extra bags. If you notice, I be trying to get it back to you. As soon as you come back around, here you go. Yeah.
Yes, take it.
Mm-mm.
Now, I didn't say how long.
Yeah, it's not my responsibility for the other thing. I don't want to be
Right.
held responsible for it because anything can happen. So here you stuff
Anything
yourself.
can happen. And you can take that in life.
Yeah.
I'm here. But now if you keep going down that same path, I don't have to stay here.
Mm-mm.
And I'm gonna release it, a healthy
Healthy
surrender,
surrender.
and I'm going about my business. This was good. Let's take a moment to reflect, guys. Listeners, what have you abandoned? Where have you abandoned yourself for acceptance? Where have you abandoned yourself for acceptance? What boundaries do you need to strengthen? What fears keep you attached to unhealthy patterns? And what does healthy love look like for you?
Healing codependency is a journey of reclaiming your voice, your worth, and emotional wellness.
Yes. So thank you all for joining us on Well Life Wednesday today.
And if this episode spoke to you, please like, subscribe, share, and follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all the major streaming platforms.
Yes. And remember, healing is possible. Boundaries are healthy, and you deserve relationships that honor who you are.
Until next
Until
time,
next time,
choose healing,
choose
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 peace,
peace
and live
and live
well.
well. Bye, everybody.